Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope everything is great and wonderful and fantastic. Everything here is good. Thank you for all the compliments on the shelves. I'm very happy with the way they've turned out so far. Um, I have some nitpicky details that I wish I'd have hit a little bit better, but I didn't, and that's okay. Next time I will work on those things, right? And I will certainly show you pictures once they are in place and being utilized. It's going to take a while. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, this tried and true varnish oil is a linseed oil and pine resin based finish, and it'll take a while to cure. That is modified flaxseed oil or linseed oil, but it still takes, days, if not weeks, to fully cure. So I don't want to hang them up and put stuff on them, because if you ever messed with an oil-based finish and it's not fully cured, setting something on it, it can become sticky. Like that thing can get stuck. You really need to let those finishes fully cure out before putting stuff on them. So it's going to probably be at least a week, maybe a little bit more before I even hang them, and then probably another week before we can start putting stuff on them. I could theoretically seal that in with a coat of paste wax over top, which I fully intend to do that. I have actually beeswax I'm going to use for that process. And I have seen people put wax directly on top of a freshly applied linseed oil finish. I don't know about that. I mean, theoretically, the wood breathes and that finish will cure eventually, but I prefer to let the finish cure as much as possible before putting on the finish, because I feel like that's the best chance at that finish curing, right? And when you use a wax-based top coat, wax wears off, especially on something that's going to have books sliding in and out. Eventually that wax is going to wear off and you'll have to reapply it. And if that wax wears off and the finish underneath isn't cured, you haven't fixed anything. You're just hiding the problem. So I will wait probably 2 weeks before I'll put wax on it, just to make sure it's fully cured. I think it would be safe for books within a week, but I'm not going to risk it. I took them upstairs because running this little heater down here, trying to keep this garage warm, is frustrating at best. So they're upstairs where they can stay warm, lots of air circulation, which helps the oil cure. And I'll show you pictures. That being said, this is just phase one of the project. I feel like there's going to be one more, maybe two more components to those shelves that I need to build in the future. But we'll get there, right? Like, these shelves were requested at the same time the basement project was requested. So these shelves have been in progress for a long time. M designed the shelves. I had a printout. I don't know what I did with it. M designed the shelves last spring or last summer. I think it was last summer. Probably 6 months ago, 8 months ago, she designed the shelves and said that she wanted them for Christmas, for solstice. And I just couldn't, I didn't get the chance to go get the wood. We had decided at that time they would be made out of cherry because they were going to go in the bedroom. And I have a cherry headboard that I made for the bedroom, and so we wanted that to match. We have since moved the living room bookcases into the bedroom, so we don't need hanging shelves in the bedroom anymore. We're going to put them in the living room, but I have another shelf out there that's cherry, so it just made sense to make them out of cherry, and I needed to go get some. So from the time of getting the cherry to these shelves being done, it's been about a month, a little over a month, I think. And that's not terrible, considering the amount of work I put into those shelves. Could I have done them in a couple of days? Yes. I could have just slapped them together, put some shellac on them, and said, done. And she would have been perfectly happy with that. But as I've mentioned before, when I get into a project like that, where, it's really just like 10 boards screwed together or glued together or doweled together or whatever I need to do something to keep my interest, or else it'll just kind of falter, or I'll rush the project and they won't turn out nice, or they'll just fail, right? And so for this one, I decided to use the dados that I've not used before. I decided to use a finish I've not used before, just to make it interesting for me. And that way I'll get it done. That also meant that it required me getting rough cut cherry, letting it rest for a couple of weeks to acclimate, milling that cherry, letting that rest for a little bit to acclimate, cutting all the pieces, assembling, all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, like we mentioned the other day, 10-ish hours of finishing work. But in the end, I think the product is super, super nice, and I think they're going to look really good on the walls. The thing is, they're going on a very big wall where the couch is not centered on that wall. As I mentioned yesterday, I made them, or not yesterday, 2 days ago. Yesterday we talked about project management. Mentioned them 2 days ago, that they are designed to be hung with keyholes on the vertical pieces, not on the horizontal pieces. Keyholes on the vertical pieces are 32 inches apart, so they could hit studs. I'm not positive that they're going to hit studs. Like, we haven't figured out where the studs are on that wall. We haven't mocked them up to see if we're even going to like their placement. If not, I will do a long horizontal keyhole in the middle shelf that's got the dado, and then one on each end. On the vertical, I'll use toggle bolts or drywall inserts or something to help support the ends, and that way I can position it kind of wherever I want. So once I get those up, I have a feeling the size of the wall, the couch, all that sort of stuff, we're probably going to make a single box floating shelf to go between, or two smaller boxes, like big shelf up here, shelf down here, shelf up here, big shelf down here, like some sort of display like that to make it visually more interesting than just two boxes hanging on a wall. So this is phase one of the project. And once that's done, we can start designing phase two. We will hang these where we think they're going to end up, and then design around that for the phase two of the project. We'll be making more shelves. The things that I wish I had done, I wish I had pre-finished all the pieces. I really wish that I had, flat on the bench, especially with this particular finish, which requires a whole lot of hand rubbing. When they say a hand rub finish, this is a hand rub finish. It required, my arms were very sore. I mean, I felt like I had done a workout from just rubbing. And getting into those tight spaces, you can only move the cloth so much, and it doesn't work really well, especially in the corners. I wish I had pre-finished all of it. Well, at least pre-finished the interior. I pre-sanded the interior, but I didn't pre-finish the interior. Should have pre-finished. I should have used blue tape in all the corners so that squeeze out would have just peeled right off with the tape, and I wouldn't have had to get in there spending hours cleaning it up. And other than that, those are the two big lessons learned. Next time when I make the smaller shelves or the smaller floating pieces, I will pre-finish the interior. Probably pre-finish the exterior, but with exteriors they kind of get banged up, so I might finish that afterwards. I don't know. We'll see. But all of that's going to add time, right? Because it's going to take me sanding the insides and finishing the insides, waiting a day, adding a second coat to finish the insides, waiting another day before I can assemble, wait a day, sand and finish the outside, wait a day. It's going to add extra days. But now that I have the construction method down and I understand the finishing method with this particular finish, I think it'll go pretty quick. And this is probably going to be not my go-to finish for everything, but for any project that doesn't require a lot of wear resistance, I'll probably use this. I really like the way it made that cherry look, and I really love working with cherry. I might do some experimentation with some walnut and see what it looks like. I tend to use shellac on walnut because shellac adds a little bit of iridescence to the walnut that I think is really captivating. But I might try to, I haven't put this on walnut yet to see what it looks like. So we'll see. Anyway, follow up on the shelves. I didn't mean to talk about that for 10 minutes. So thank you everybody who had comments about them. Again, I will definitely show them to you fully loaded. We have a lot of manga in this house. So, yeah. I guess that's what I had for you today. Tonight is, we had, oh, by the way, it was my youngest birthday on Monday. I took them out last night for steak dinner, and they had a really good steak dinner. And tonight, my oldest is doing a dress rehearsal where parents are invited for their state regionals performance of their thespians, like the stage performance, play stuff. I don't know what it's called, is this weekend. So I get to go see a little play tonight. That'll be really interesting. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is lackadaisical. It is an adjective meaning lazy and indolent, lacking determination. No matter how many times a week her father allows her to go on a spending spree, Millicent is never lackadaisical about her trips to Cartier. Lackadaisical. Lackadaisical. I heard that word a lot in my life. I was told I was lackadaisical a lot. And while I don't lack ambition, I tend to take things pretty in stride.